thought I'd talk about something that I'm actually translating at the moment. It's by Durs Grünbein, born in 1962 in Dresden. And these cantos come from his Porcelain poem vom Untergang meiner Stadt of 2005, Porcelain, poem about the downfall of my city. It's a book-length cycle of 49 10-line poems written over a decade, a lament for the poet's hometown of Dresden, destroyed in the Allied firebombing of February 1945, 75 years ago this year. It's at once a history and a declaration of love, reaching back to the founding of Dresden as the famed Venice on the Elbe, back to the Meissen porcelain which brought the city its wealth, through the war years, the days of the bombing itself, Grünbein's childhood in East Germany, and ending with the building of Dresden's famous Frauenkirche in 2004. It's a haunted poem in many ways, suggested by the covert dedication, Porcelain, porcelain, the great Holocaust poet Paul Celan. And a controversial one too, in setting itself against what Grünbein calls the myth of the Germans as innocent victims of a war carried out by the notorious Sir Arthur Bomber Harris on Churchill's orders. But it never loses sight of the horror deliberately visited on an unwitting civilian population, nor the devastation that looms so large in German memory. And as Grünbein says in the notes, with the rise and fall of each line, these verses are aware of the grief that has never ceased to this day, through all the facts and files. Why complain, Johnny come lately? Dresden was long gone when your little light first appeared on the scene. Moist eyes are not the same as grey hair, my son. And as your name suggests, you're too quick for it, too green. 17 years, barely a childhood, was all it needed to erase what had been there before. The sombre grey of uniformity had closed the wounds, and magic ceded to bureaucracy. No need to slay the peacock of Saxony. Lichen blossomed on the sandstone flowers implacably. Why brood? It comes back like hiccups, elegy. Frosty night air, below the wings a sight for weary eyes, the river's slender S beckoning the bombers on. City with no time for dressing up that night. Witch on a broomstick brewing glass, metal, asphalt, stone. Bomb after polished bomb tumbling from the bay. Tons of rubble fall into the mistress's waiting lap. This night is irredeemable. Augustus's pride and joy, bright sandstone castle, phosphorus burns it black. The skies of Spain alight, and Guernica and Coventry. Of the Bella, antebellum, nothing left to see. Say it after me. It doesn't take much to make a moonscape of a city, or charcoal of the folk who lived there. Imagine this. In the time it takes to nip out of the opera for a pack of fags, the streets were death traps, bubbling with tar. Just now, frost, hands frozen on the handlebars. Then the sea of houses was raked by desert winds. Stiff as pharaohs in their winter coats they burned. Never was a summer hotter. The last alarm hardly faded, and the ashes were still warm. Porcelain, endless porcelain was ground to dust. Whitest Meissen gold, crockery, cups and figurines. But not just that. Once upon a time, the faintest tinkling, then thunder rolled across the scene. Not a rowdy wedding do, it was the night of broken glass, or what sharp-tongued folk called the glazier's lucky day. And Ash Wednesday, just a hop, skip and jump away. Fools and Nazis, huzzah, sure, they had a blast. What's that? Innocent? Ruin came long ago. Dresden shepherdesses, German bands, where are you now? This marvellous thing, not even thumbnail-sized, a stone spat out by a cherry thief, no more. As a child, I'd stare at it for hours under museum lights, and magnifying glass, like a tiny planet seen from afar. Carved in hardwood, a jeweller's masterpiece, eyes wide with terror on every tiny screaming face. Inferno on a needle tip. The droplets glisten. Hard to fathom. There, in Nuce, what would come to pass, emblem of the future and my hometown Dresden, was itself that cherry pip, seen from outer space.